Cooking with kids can be fun and an opportunity for them to learn, but there are some precautions to take to ensure everyone stays safe and all of the activities in the kitchen are age appropriate. Joining us today, Dr. Stephanie Hansen, a pediatrician at Sanford Health, and we're going to get to some of the age appropriate, the precautions. But first, let's start with why it is important to have the kids in the kitchen with us.
I think there are so many benefits to bringing your kids into the kitchen and cooking with them. It's a wonderful bonding experience. I remember cooking with my parents and my grandparents when I was a kid. It's really an opportunity to make those family memories. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to play with food and explore food. I think it helps kids develop an appreciation for different flavors and different textures. And there's always opportunities for little bits of education in there. There's a lot of math involved in cooking. You can talk about colors. You can talk about shapes. I mean, there's just so many things you can do with that.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, but you're right. There is some math involved when we're talking about the measurements of a recipe. I only really remember making cookies with my mom in the kitchen, but I do know as a mom now, if I involve my kids in making the actual meal, it helps them want to eat it.
Yeah.
What goes into that?
Well, I think it's a sense of pride. When kids are allowed to create something, to participate in something, just like I feel pride in feeding my family, so do kids. Even really young kids, toddler age, can feel that sense of accomplishment when they help in the kitchen.
And let's talk about picky eaters, because picky eaters are, it's not just annoying, it can be detrimental to their health too if they refuse to eat a lot of different things. Can we combat that by getting the kids into the kitchen?
It's absolutely one strategy you can use to combat picky eating. I like to think of it as a safe way for kids to explore food. When they see what goes into making a meal, when they see food in kind of its unprepared state, I think it's less threatening to them. And especially if you approach cooking with a fun and lighthearted attitude, it's sort of natural to take a little taste here, to smell something. And I think if a child is involved with the preparation of food, it's easier for them to approach it at the dinner table.
Okay, but there are some things we should consider on the other side of things, as well as keeping our kids safe. What are some of the things that actually some parents might forget, like just go ahead, jump in there? There are some dangers.
I think you know your child best. You know what their skills are, where they're at developmentally, and every child is different. So there are some young kids who would be comfortable doing some basic slicing. There are other kids where you probably aren't ready to go that route yet, and they're more suited for doing mixing. But just like, anytime I'm going to enter the kitchen and cook, I need to wash my hands first. You need to set those basic rules when you're working with kids. So show them how to wash their hands properly, show them how to gather their food and wash their food. Just some of those basic health things, you want to lay that groundwork early.
Don't lick the spoon until you're done.
Don't lick until you're done.
Okay, it seems like basic, but that's a good point. Washing your hands, keeping everything clean. How about when it comes to using the microwave or the stove or the oven? Any age suggestions?
I think it's really based on a child's ability to focus and pay attention. If they're easily distracted, you may want to wait a little bit on some of those things that are hot or sharp. But if you have a child who can kind of follow through with multi-step directions, if they can focus on what they're doing, then I think you could easily teach them how to use the microwave. And it turns out our kids are a lot more capable than we give them credit for. And especially if it's a task that they're excited about, they're going to do the things that they need to keep them safe with some supervision.
And I know it's only March, but summer will be here before you know it. And that's when we start seeing some kids staying home by themselves for the first time. Any suggestions for, kids for the summer when they're cooking by themselves?
Right. I think, teach them how to make a few basic things, some scrambled eggs or maybe a soup or even a simple sandwich or a salad. Those are things that kids can easily do on their own. And if you teach them how to prepare a variety of reasonably healthy options, I think they're going to be better off for it.
I love it. Great discussion, getting kids in the kitchen. And there's so many more classes now for kids at our gyms. And
oh my gosh, I couldn't believe the things that are available in town, whether it's classes. I saw there was a healthy cooking competition for 4th and 5th graders.
I love it.
There's all kinds of ways to get kids involved.
Dr. Hansen, thank you so much for coming in today. Stay with us. Coming up next on North Dakota Today, we all need sleep, Some people just need a little extra help getting the optimal amount of Z's. Find out how you can make the most out of bedtime.